Hello guys and welcome back to Cam's Camcorder, and today we're going to be reviewing some knee-length compression socks as a part of series 1 of 3CReviews, and today we're specifically going to be looking at CEP's the Run Compression Socks tool, or otherwise known as the 4.0s. I tested the Run Socks tool by CEP very thoroughly, and I also got 4 other volunteers to help me review these socks to make sure there was no bias from me whatsoever. So my 4 volunteers went along with doing their normal exercise routines whilst trying them out. And so therefore I'd like you to say hello to Louise, Richard F, Janet and Richard B. Yes, there are already multiple Richards at this point. I think that says a lot about the British male name pool. So before my testers / volunteers tried these socks, I got them to answer a bunch of questions regarding their first impressions, the perceived quality of the socks, and then after they had tried them for a minimum of 10 sessions of their choice, I then asked them further questions about the value, what was their experience like with them, and any issues they may have had. Whilst my 3C reviewers / volunteers were out and about testing these socks, I was doing desk research, looking at online reviews, their ethical practices, and their manufacturing, specifically for these socks and how that affects the environment. From all the data collected, I gave these socks a score out of 100. And this is what I found. I gave these socks a score of 70. So for the first sock of the series, I knew that these socks were going to do rather well. I've had very good experience with CEP in the past, hence why I wanted to do these first. As a bit of a product overview, so these socks, so as we've said, they're the Run Socks tool or the 4.0s. The brand is CEP, which is a German-based compression specialist. The cushioning is considered quite moderate. It's not excessively thick, but it's by far from their thinnest models. There are multiple colours. These come in, let me check my notes, black, white, petrol, royal blue, pink, ocean and rose, of which the latter is a women's exclusive. The price comes in at £44.95, and the materials used are 87% polyamide and 17% elastane. CEP's the Run Socks tool / 4.0s are CEP's headlining performance sock and targeted towards mostly the running community, hence the name, with blister-free fit, the padding and obviously the strong compression being the key features. So what were the product highlights? Firstly, it's an excellent aesthetic and style. I know aesthetic and style is very subjective, but across not only myself but my 4 volunteers very consistently and quite strongly found the aesthetic to be pretty decent. So that's definitely one of the strongest points. Second to that, and very similar department, is that there's just an amazing range of colours available, which means it's more likely to suit your style and your outfit, and I think there's much to be said about that. And then also the production of these socks, as far as I can find, have excellent ethical practices, and I think that should be applauded. And when I mean ethical practices, I mean specifically about the workers' rights in the German factories. I will go into more detail later on in this video on how I got to that summary. And the product downside. So the first downside is not exclusively a problem with the CEP compression socks, it's more compression socks as a whole, but the recovery benefit is mostly limited to wearing them post-exercise, which isn't always practical. These ones aren't great value for money. They are quite pricey at £44.95. They are definitely one of the more premium of the 10 I'm reviewing this series. And the materials that these socks are actually made from, unfortunately, have numerous serious negative impacts for the environment. So as said, I've introduced you to Louise, Richard F, Janet and Richard B. So what did they think about these socks? So as said, I gave them a long questionnaire each, with various questions regarding their experience with the socks. From all that data, I converted that information into a number out of 100 as well. This is what their questionnaires and feedback came back to. Wow. So Louise rated them the highest at 84 out of 100, so very, very good. Richard F scored them the lowest at 67, But there's only about a 17-point difference, which really actually is quite good. It shows there's consistency amongst the four and their experiences with them. And then Janet and Richard B came somewhere in between. When it came to the desk research, which was again the ethical practices, online reviews, manufacturing in the environment, etc., etc., I gave these socks a score of 65, and I'll go through some of the explanations as to why I gave that score. I'm also planning to do a full review video and a more condensed sort of summary review, just to make it a little bit easier for you guys who do not need the full thesis that I have gone into on these socks. So by all means, pause and have a little look at the things I'm about to go into. Otherwise, we're going to dive right in.